The WAFB Podcast Network is sponsored by Neighbors Federal Credit Union.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Game Time. I'm your host, John Eads. Happy to be back with you. Be sure to like and subscribe to our WAFB YouTube channel and our WAFB Podcast Network. Got another episode coming at you today, and LSU Baseball season opener is just a little over 2 weeks away at the time we're recording this. It's coming up. It's coming up quickly. We've done a little bit of baseball content the last couple weeks. Y'all have loved it. I think you're all getting ready, anticipating the season opener against Purdue Fort Wayne on February 14th. And I'm excited, and I'm anticipating it as well. So as much baseball content as we can do, we are going to do. We're continuing with that today. If you missed our last two episodes, baseball related, we did one on the impact transfers, some of the guys from the smaller schools that maybe you haven't heard of, UC San Diego, Utah Valley State, some of the guys that will be big impact players in the team this year that transferred in that maybe you don't know a whole lot about. Did that, got some exclusive practice video on them, some good tidbits and things that I've noticed over the past 5-6 months watching them and watching this team grow and kind of find itself. Did another episode on the impact freshmen, so same kind of thing. Guys you maybe aren't familiar with, who the top freshmen are, who are the ones that realistically will play most this year and have the biggest impact on this team. Video, nuggets, tidbits, the whole thing. So I'll tag those videos here. You'll see them in the top of the screen. Hit the info button at any time to get directed to those. And if you're interested, I'd encourage you to check those out. Jam-packed with information. This episode, jam-packed with as much information as I can in a time that is, relatively appropriate. I don't want to go on and on for 30 minutes here, but I went to all four of LSU Baseball's preseason scrimmages this past weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. They're going to do that again, I assume 4 days again, this upcoming weekend, and then potentially one more time before the season opener against Purdue Fort Wayne. I figure that it'll be open this weekend. I know they're scrimmaging a baker's dozen amount of times before the season. They knocked out 4 of them last week, and they're continuing to practice as well. So this episode is for the things that I saw in that scrimmage, the intel, the observations, and I'm going to share with you, I think, what are the most important things that I saw and how it's going to affect this team this year on opening weekend, all of that. So I think what we need to start with really is just going to be all the players that stuck out to me that I think are going to be big players on the team this year. Let's start with Kacey Anderson. So he pitched early in the weekend, went 3 innings. Obviously, you can go much longer than that, but you're not trying to throw these guys' arms out in a preseason scrimmage. So he pitched 3 innings, no hits, no runs, 6 strikeouts. And every time I've seen Kacey Anderson in the preseason, the fall, he's looked good. Maybe he gives up the occasional hit here and there, but there's nothing in the back of my head that gives me any reason of concern heading into his sophomore year. A couple things. He's a draft-eligible sophomore. This could be his final year at LSU. Now, we asked him this question at Media Day. Hey, this is your draft year, possibly. Obviously, he's going to say, I love being at LSU. I'd be here for 10 years, was his exact quote. And I'm sure those aren't just, words. I'm sure he actually believes that. He went to St. Paul's High School. He's from the New Orleans area. Like, he grew up an LSU fan. And that is a perfect segue into my point here, which is he had dreams of being a starter. And maybe not even just any starter, a Friday night starter at LSU. When you grow up in Louisiana, you play high school in this state, most of the time your goal is to play at LSU and your goal is to be a star at LSU. His next goal after a freshman season where he was a midweek starter, spot duty guy in some big moments for an inning or two as a freshman, his goal, I think, in year 2 should be to be a consistent, reliable starter, a la Gage Jump, Luke Coleman from last year. And everything that I've seen gives me reason to believe he will be that guy and early in the year. I think he should be penciled in, really penned in, as one of your 3 starters coming into the season. And if he continues to do what he's done and elevate as a sophomore, he could easily have that role all year. And if it's a Saturday or Sunday, possibly work his way into the Friday job. So Kacey Anderson's a guy that we need to start with off the top. One other guy, there's many that I'm going to get into, but we'll segue into the next one. Michael Braswell III, kind of going in order here based on things day by day that I tweeted on social media. By the way, give me a follow if you want some good LSU baseball content pretty much every day of the week at any time all year long at John Eads, WAFB, on Facebook, Instagram as well. Michael Braswell III, of course, LSU's shortstop last year. We mentioned this on a previous episode. He had knee tendinitis last year. So you saw him kind of have a tale of two halves, right? The first half kind of struggled, occasional errors at shortstop defensively, and wasn't really a plus on offense for the most part, at least consistently. But in the second half of the year, those key SEC series, the tournament in Hoover, he really stepped up. He bumped into that leadoff role, got on base consistently, was a huge factor for LSU on both sides. And against South Carolina, single-handedly pretty much won them that game against his former team. So he's been playing third base. They're trying to move, and we'll talk about this in a second, Stephen Milam to the left side of the infield, and it seems like he's either going to play third or short. Braz, of course, played all of last year at shortstop, half of the time healthy. I wonder, a fully healthy Michael Braswell, what does that look like at shortstop? Because in the second half of the year, I don't recall seeing a lot of defensive flares. With that said, I think Milam might be better suited for that position because Jay Johnson said it. I'm going to give him the attribution. He's the best defender on this team, and he makes it like he compares it to basketball. Doesn't the best defender guard the guy that scores the most points? As in, you should put your defender in the spot where he can make the most impact plays for you defensively, and that is at shortstop, you know? So Braz looked really good at third. He's made a lot of good plays over there. He played shortstop for years. Like, he's got good athleticism. He has that it factor you need to play that position, you know, off-platform throws, off-schedule things. He has all of that from his time playing shortstop, and that'll just make him an even better third baseman. So that's been interesting. Chris Stanfield, Auburn transfer. You need to know this name. He's one that I mentioned in the Impact Transfers episode. He's got to be a starter. Like, I know he's going to start, but the way he's been playing recently, he's working into that everyday starter guy in center field, left. He's played both of those spots, whatever it is. He is a huge plus on offense. He had a home run this weekend, a 2-out single, a double. I believe it was a leadoff double. Stole a base, and then, you know, fine defensively. You know, anytime a ball was hit his way, he made the catch. Weren't not really any, you know, like highlight reel plays like he did in the fall with a diving catch against Cade Arambidi, but, you know, just reliable, and that's really all you need from a defender. So he led Auburn, did have the highest batting average, I think it was around 270, but he led Auburn in multi-hit games last year, and he wasn't like a star on that team, you know, but that's kind of an underrated fact about Chris Stanfield. So I think he's locked in. He's in his junior year, so he's thinking about pro ball. I think this is going to be his best season. Like, mentally, physically, he's well prepared to come here and, as unfortunate as it is, bump somebody out. Like, you can only play 3 guys in the outfield at once. Jake Brown, Ashton Larson, Ethan Fry. I'm sorry, but Chris Stanfield might just be too good to keep off the field. And everything that I've seen, stock is way up on Chris Stanfield for me, based on my perspective of what I've seen. Continuing on, Gavin Guidry. So he's been known as that kind of closer, high-emotion guy out of the bullpen. And there were some rumors, you know, circulating around various places that he might transfer this offseason to go somewhere and be a starting pitcher. But here he is. He's going to wear number 8. He came back. He's from the Lake Charles area, big Louisiana guy, and he's staying at LSU. His goal this year is to extend more, pitch more innings, rather than come in for 1 or 2, get some strikeouts, finish up the game. He wants to be in for 4 innings like he was against Northwestern State last year. That was a career high. So he's been trying to prove to the coaching staff he can handle that workload. He worked on his body in the offseason, mentals, all of it, to be in a position where he could be like Griffin Herring, a guy that LSU's replacing, their ace out of the bullpen who could go 5-6 innings at any time or over the course of a weekend and single-handedly help you win baseball games. Gavin Guidry's hoping to be that guy this year, and he pitched well over the weekend. I don't recall if it was 2 or 3 innings he did, but nobody was really able to hit him. So continuing on with that short burst success, now they're trying to make that long-term. A few more. Chase Shores. So the curious case of Chase Shores, right? He's the star, big recruit 2 years ago, gets Tommy John, would have been available for Omaha last year if the Tigers made it. The coaching staff shared with us, and he told me when we were in Chapel Hill. Everyone's penciling him in as a starter, and he's a great guy. really nice. And this is not personal at all, but based on what I've seen, I have my reasons to doubt that he can step in and be a starter right now. Because every time, and I'm not there all the time, granted, but every time I've seen him pitch, and it's at least 4 or 5 times between the fall and the Biloxi exhibition games and then this past weekend, it's just been a little erratic. You see some good, you see a couple straight strikeouts, you see some good contact outs, good movement off the mound, getting, short hops and bunts and stuff. But then the next, it's wild pitch here, wild pitch there, lack of command, walk, free bases, just a little bit too inconsistent for my liking. And everyone's certainly allowed to have a bad day. But every time I've seen him, I've been waiting for him to have that dominant performance start to finish and not in spurts. And I haven't seen it yet. So I just want to let y'all know, I think he certainly has what it takes to be a starter. He probably will be a starter entering the season. But don't be surprised maybe if he struggles a little bit out of the gate. Like LSU might still win the games and whatnot, but he might have a couple innings where you're like, what's going on here? And that's just based on my testimony on what I've seen. Just because he has not done something, though, doesn't mean he can't. I'm just telling you what he has done, just a little bit inconsistent, but that could change. As I said, I'm hoping to attend the scrimmages this week. I hope he pitches, and I hope he does really well so that this whole thing can be put to bed, because LSU needs him to be good this year, I think, to make it to Omaha and beyond. So we got a lot more names on here. Man, I wrote down so many things, and I know this is going to go way over the time I was hoping to hit, so maybe I'll save some of these for later and give you the ones that are very important. Zach Cohen, the Wofford transfer pitcher, was in over the weekend. He looked good. He's a guy that pitched 110 innings for the Terriers last year, a team that was in that Chapel Hill Regional. 124 strikeouts, 3.35 ERA, 10-2 record. A good guy to have in the staff. He has starting experience. I think the most likely role for him could be starting, midweek, maybe Sunday. But certainly out of the bullpen, he can give you 4 or 5 innings of good baseball. A lot of contact outs, a lot of strikes. Not a super high velocity thrower, but everything, just painting the strike zone, which you want out of a pitcher. So he looked good. He had a decent amount of Ks, not a lot of base runners, just got in, got out. And he struggled a little bit in the fall, but I think he's starting to adjust and find his stride. And working with Nate Yeske will certainly help with that. So saw him pitch, liked what I saw there. Daniel Dickinson, Stephen Milam. So they both look good offensively. They're going to provide there. Dickinson, I think, is locked into second base. Mentioned Milam moving over from second to the left side of the infield. I think Danny, every time I've seen him, he's been playing second. All they've been rotating, really, is Braswell at third, Milam at short, interchangeable. Dickinson, I think, is locked in to play that second base spot, and he provides good offense. He's a smart guy. He takes really good at-bats, and just seems like a grinder. That's why he was given that number 14, because he plays so hard, said Jay Johnson. He plays like Pete Rose. I think he's going to be one of the leaders of this team. Maybe not from a stats standpoint, but just from a leading by example perspective. I really like him. I like everything that I've seen from him. He has specific jobs he needs to do: steal a base, get an out, take good, take ball, whatever it is, get on base, walk, whatever, and he does it every time. So Jay Johnson said he'll probably be a fan favorite. I think so. He's one of those guys that just does his work, and he's not super boisterous about it. He just does it, and it seems like he just genuinely loves being out there playing baseball. So really good addition out of the portal, I think. He'll be your second baseman. And, Milam, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Does he play short? Does he play third? Some people have questioned his throwing ability on social media based on some clips. I haven't seen enough of him at shortstop. I saw a lot more at third base in the fall, and he looked good there. But shoot, if he's your best glove, if he's your best athlete in the infield, you want him at shortstop because they're seeing the most action most of the time. So that's a running thing that will continue to be determined the next couple of weeks. He missed a lot of the fall with an injury. He played on an injury most of the end of last season in May, June, whatever it was. So he didn't play much in the summer either. So that's why now they're still trying to figure this out, and it probably won't be figured out until opening day, and maybe not even then, in a couple weeks. So TBD, and stay tuned on that. Let me give you 3 more. One's a quick hitter. The other 2 need to be talked about. Cade Arambidi, Derek Curiel. We talked about them on that Impact Freshman episode they've continued to look great. So this past weekend, here's what Aaron Beatty did. He had one bad throw on a bunt, throwing it back to first base. Not a big deal, but, things you want to get cleaned up, certainly, and you want to execute better. From an offensive standpoint, this guy is unbelievable. He had a double to the left center gap late in the scrimmage. I want to say that was on Saturday. That was a 2 RBI double. And then on Monday, he was just shy of a home run. Ashton Larson got pushed back all the way to the wall in left field, and just a couple feet away from being a home run there. So he's got pop. He's got power. I think if he's not catching, he's a good candidate to be a designated hitter, and he's very good behind the plate. Good communication, calls for the timeouts to talk with the pitcher when they need to go over things. He also threw a guy out at second who was stealing. He's got a really good arm, so he just does a lot well. Hit 360 and it had 6 doubles in the fall. I mentioned that before. He's too good not to play this year as a freshman. And the same for Derek Curiel. Two-way guy. Double machine in the fall. Gavin Guidry spoke at Media Day, said that he's so difficult to pitch against because he evaluates every single pitch like it's his life, and really makes you think. Jay Johnson said that he's very mentally strong. If he makes a mistake or needs something to be corrected, it gets corrected, and he's not a guy that you need to tell 2 or 3 times. So that's that's high maturity from a freshman. Not surprising because a lot of teams were considering paying him a lot of money to join their minor league organization. But instead, he's at LSU. Same with William Schmidt. Same with Cade Aaron Beatty. So Curiel, good offense. He had an RBI single. And Guidry also said that when he hits it, it's usually on the barrel. So I think he's going to be a guy that is going to be a plus from that outfield spot. Offensively and defensively, he's really good. The way he flips his hips, the way he tracks the ball. Like, he took away, I'll show you this video, he took away an Ethan Fry line drive to left center that could have easily been a double, I think, for a lot of other college outfielders, but not Derek Curiel. Josh Pearson had a bloop shot to shallow left field, and Curiel ran it in, caught it on the run. That, too, I think, is a very difficult play. Most outfielders, I think, have to dive for that and maybe don't even make that play. So I think he's going to quietly do a lot of things and make them look easy, and people are going to take him for granted. But I think he's looked really good. Aaron Beatty's got to be starting at some point, if not off the jump. Same with Derek Curiel. Too good to not have on the field. Every time I see him, he's making something happen. He's also got good wheels. He can turn a single into a double. He can steal, all that. Last guy I want to mention, there's more I couldn't get to, but I don't want to go on and on and on. We're going to do these every week leading into the season, and then a lot of content after that. Jaden Newt, I'm sure a lot of you really 1A, A1 LSU baseball fans know of him and kind of know his story. Big recruit, needed Tommy John surgery, pitched, I want to say, 1 inning last year. We didn't see him at all. But in a simulated closing setting on Monday, they started the game in the 7th inning. It was 3-3. He came in and pitched, didn't allow any runs, and really hardly any hits. I think that Aaron Beatty near home run was off his arm, but it wasn't a home run. So not going to dock him for it. But he looked good. Nice to see that coming back from injury. And he's a guy that could work his way into, relief, closing, 7th, 8th inning, deep in games kind of thing. And LSU would certainly benefit from that because he has the pedigree, and the Tigers have a lot to replace this year. So those are my scrimmage intel and observations. A lot to give you, but it's 4 days worth of baseball. So it's hard to pack that into a, 15, 20-minute segment, but hopefully that will suffice for you for now. I'm hoping to get back out there this week, and I'll give you some more things that I've seen and noticed. I want to see more of Anthony Ianson, the transfer from UC San Diego. A lot of people think he's going to be a starting pitcher. I want to see Shores again. I want to see more of William Schmidt. Saw him a little bit. Would like to see more of that. And, so much more to see and hopefully learn about, so some of these concerns and questions I have can be answered leading into the season opener on February 14th. So it's coming up soon. I know you're excited. I'm excited. This is the place to be, man. We got the great content for you and all the latest buzz so that you can get your fix of LSU baseball leading into the season. And should be a very fun season. We'll see. Again, be sure to like and subscribe. We'll talk to y'all next week.